In today's episode, the POTA Babe goes back in time for her activation. How far back? Let's just say the Civil War. Hi, I'm Teri Kilo Oscar 4 Whiskey Foxtrot Papa, also known as the POTA Babe. I'm here, sweating to death this morning, at Fort McAllister State Park, which is located just outside of Richmond Hill. The park contains an old earthen embankment fort which dates back to the Civil War, and I can talk about that a little bit later on when I talk about the history of this place. Anyway, I'm here to do a POTA activation. What amazes me is how cool this old fort is, and that I've lived here all my life, and I've never come here. So stick around while I do my POTA activation and also show you a little bit about this amazing park. Fort McAllister is located at Genesis Point, a bluff on the Ogeechee River. The earthen fort was built on the bluff to protect plantations along the river as well as an important railroad bridge. It repelled 7 Union naval attacks between 1862 and 1863, but was finally captured by General Sherman from the landward side during his March to the Sea campaign. This park contains a museum looking at the history of the site all the way back to the Gual Indians who originally occupied the land. The museum, though small, is well worth checking out during your visit. After walking through the museum, you head outside to a greenway leading to the fort. There's a signal tower like the one that was constructed after the capture of Fort McAllister. You get a good view of the Ogeechee River and surrounding marsh from its top. Walking past the signal tower, you encounter the non-commissioned officer huts and a reproduction of the barracks that previously occupied the site. Looking into the huts, you can see the conditions were Spartan. The fort is accessed by a path and bridge over a moat. The moat never had water in it due to its elevation, so the Confederates reinforced it with palisades to slow a land attack. Crossing the bridge over a moat, you enter the parade ground. There are several cannons on site, including a Columbiad, which is a large-caliber, smooth-bore, muzzle-loading cannon able to fire heavy projectiles at both high and low trajectories. In the center of the fort is the central bomb-proof. This structure was used as a hospital and supply area, and most men admitted were either stricken with malaria or suffered burns from operating cannons. Officers slept inside it in the event of an imminent naval assault. This is standing on top of one of the earthen embankments over here. You can see some really cool live oak trees. We're known for our live oaks here along the Georgia coast. And look at that view, you guys. Wow! Is that spectacular or what? I would love to set up here, but as you can see, there's a path along here, and I'm sure that even though I've been the only person here so far this morning, because it's Labor Day weekend, I'm likely to be joined by other people. So as much as I would love to set up here on top of the fort, I think I'm going to go find a place that's a little bit less crowded and where I won't have to constantly defend my antennas. On second thought, while I've been standing up here looking around, I think I've got a better idea of setting up outside the fort. I was actually going to set up near where you come in out of the museum, which is a little ways away from here. But look at this oak tree, this bunch of oak trees down by the marsh. That is off of the fort. There is a path down there, but it's pretty wide. And I'm likely to not get as many people down there as I would up here on the fort. Plus, look at that QTH, look at my view. I'll get to look out into the Ogeechee River and the coastal estuary, which is awesome during my POTA. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do today. Let's see how that works out. Well, I finished my activation, and I wanted to show you how my QTH played out. I did end up setting up underneath those oak trees. In fact, I'm standing underneath them right now. And look, I'm in shade. which is awesome for southern Georgia in August. I did end up throwing my end-fed random wire, and I'll show you that real quickly if I can get it on video here. It's way up in the oak tree. This is where my wire is. My antenna comes down plunk right there on the ground. And my coax and my counterpoise is running back towards me, which should push my signal out to the west and to the north, because my antenna is oriented towards the northwest. As for where I was sitting, there we go. POTA flag with a chair and my equipment. And as I said, I'm still in shade. This ended up being a really good QTH. I ended up with a good activation, and I'm very pleased with this is a QTH for my first time at this park. Well, there you have it. My activation at Fort McAllister State Park on the Ogeechee River on August the 30th. Where will the POTA Babe show up next? As I say in my articles on QRPR.com, stay tuned.